1 in 4 homes could be at flood risk by 2050. That's about 8 million properties. Flooding isn't just a bad winter news story anymore. It's shaping how we build, what we build with, and how much everything ultimately costs.
Traditional drainage has been on par about 30 years ago. Nowadays I wouldn't say it's not fit for purpose, but it doesn't perform the way we need it to. And that's why we're getting such serious flooding problems. Once you start to explain that the system itself, permeable paving, slows the water down. It works like a speed hump for the water, which is exactly what we need. The amount of water that builds up from those impermeable driveways ends up in the street. The roadway becomes a river and it's unusable for pedestrians.
Welcome back to Create and Construct, the podcast. I'm Michelle, and today we're talking about something that affects builders, planners, homeowners, and honestly, anyone who's ever watched water creeping a little bit too close to their back door. Yep, we're talking flooding. Here's the stat from the Environment Agency that stopped me in my tracks the first time I read it. 1 in 4 homes could be at flood risk by 2050. That's about 8 million properties. It's wild when you think about it, and it really drives home that flooding isn't just a bad winter news story anymore. It's shaping how we build, what we build with, and how much everything ultimately costs. Today, I've brought in someone who loves talking about this stuff, our in-house permeable paving specialist, Michael McIvor-New. He spends his days helping architects, contractors, and developers get SuDS right, and he's on a mission to prove that smarter drainage today means safer, stronger, more resilient communities tomorrow. If you know Michael, you'll also know that he brings a bit of unexpected glamour to the world of drainage. This is the man who will plan an awards ceremony outfit for months, tailor jackets, the occasional cravat, you name it, and then turn up to site visits in his old school brown Lexus with the cream leather seats, looking like he has just stepped out of a vintage advert. He was even a child actor and once dabbled in high street modelling, so really, we're very privileged to have the most stylish SuDS expert in the country with us today. Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for joining us. How are you?
Good. How's things, Michelle?
Yes, really good. So, tell us a little bit more about the child actor thing. How did that come about?
Well, I got very lucky with that. I applied through Extras Department, a company in Northern Ireland that does extra work, and they came up with a speaking role, and I auditioned and I got very lucky. No acting training whatsoever, but managed to get it, and it was a great experience.
And it was a BBC drama, wasn't it?
It was The Woman in White. Yeah.
The Woman in White. I'm sure I watched that. Honestly, and that's not just me saying it. I'm sure I watched it. Do you remember what your line was?
I do. I was It's only one line, but I was practicing it for about a month beforehand. There's a man in the church. He's locked the door on himself, and that man was Dougray Scott in the film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. So how then did you move from that into the world of permeable paving and SuDS?
Well, Michelle, I'm one of those people that 24 hours isn't enough in the day. So I'm always doing different things. But I suppose I really wanted to get into construction. I think the industry is fantastic. It's really the bedrock of our society.
I'd agree.
Yeah.
And then how did you come about being a permeable paving specialist in Tobermore?
Well, I got very lucky with getting a specification role with Tobermore. And I did the permeable paving CPD at least once a week for maybe 2 years. I started to realise that SuDS is massive. It's this huge sort of change in the industry where we're not leaving things until the end. We're considering them at the start. Mm-hmm. Landscape leads projects now through SuDS, which is really important. SuDS, by the way, is Sustainable Drainage Systems. That's what it stands for. We've been looking at drainage for hundreds of years. Drainage has been around since before the Romans. Mm-hmm. And we've been using clay pipes and things, but we don't use clay pipes anymore.
And maybe for our listeners who aren't familiar with SuDS or Sustainable Urban Drainage, can you explain to them what that actually means, what it's about?
100%. Traditional drainage has been on par about 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. Nowadays I wouldn't say it's not fit for purpose, but it doesn't perform the way we need it to. And that's why we're getting such serious flooding problems. Flooding is a real issue in the UK. We're seeing an increase of rainfall. It's about 7 to 9% in the last few decades alone. And with the amount of rain that we do get, like that trajectory it's a concern, and it's something that we need to consider. And SuDS is one way of us doing that, because what we're doing is we're designing projects with this in mind. We're making sure that these projects are going to be climate resilient in years to come.
You're right. We are seeing flooding in the news so much more. I feel like every couple of weeks we've got a new extreme weather. You know, there's a new storm name out. Also with urbanisation and everything that we have at the minute, you know, we have an awful lot of impermeable surfaces as well due to urbanisation.
Yep.
Can you explain maybe how permeable paving is different from the more traditional drainage approaches that most people are used to help with all of that?
Yes. Okay. So the reason the impermeable surfaces are increasing, what we're talking about there is urbanisation means that these projects are getting developed, and they're being developed, but there's a certain amount of runoff that comes with these projects, because you've got the roofs, which obviously aren't permeable. Water runs off the roofs. Where does that water then go? That's an important question that we need to be asking, and one that we haven't asked traditionally. It's something that we need to start to consider, because all of this water has to go somewhere. It's not just going to keep running off forever. And that's what's causing flooding in a lot of areas.
And you would say, actually, I've heard you say this before, that it would be better to have surfaces that slow the water down rather than having everything running to one small area in a site.
Yep.
And then causing these floods.
Yeah. Well, when I say to people that permeable paving is going to help solve the flooding issue, they look at me like I've got 10 heads, which is understandable on the surface. But once you start to explain that the system itself, permeable paving, slows the water down, it works like a speed hump for the water, which is exactly what we need, because it means that the outflow on the project is reduced. It's not all of a sudden this massive gush of water that ends up on sites. And to give you a visualization of what that looks like, I was in Kingston upon Thames last winter, and there was a lot of rain, and there's a lot of driveways that go along the street, but they're all impermeable, and that wouldn't be an issue if it's your driveway. It's just the water's going to run off. It doesn't really matter. But because you've got this whole a kilometre long street with impermeable driveways, the water, the amount of water that builds up from those impermeable driveways and ends up in the street, the roadway becomes a river, and it's unusable for pedestrians. How can you try and convince people to use the bus if they're going to get drenched on their way to it?
Yeah, I've seen so much footage recently of even people in canoes going down streets. It's crazy just now what's happening.
Yeah.
So then when you're designing these systems, obviously we need to think about that. What are the main challenges that you tend to run into?
Well, SuDS has changed things in that for permeable paving specifically, we're not leaving the paving until the last thing that gets considered. We need to consider that early days. Unfortunately, sometimes it's too late to integrate a good SuDS system. SuDS needs to be the first thing that's considered. So early engagement, very, very important. The system is effectively very simple. So alongside the challenge of getting early engagement, there's a lot of simple things that need to be considered, but unfortunately, sometimes they get left out because they are so easy, which is a bit frustrating. They're the sort of challenges you come up against, but it's nothing that can't be solved.
And that's the thing, it's probably the theme with landscaping materials. It's usually the last thing that's thought about for projects.
Yep.
It's the last thing that's installed. But what you're saying is that we need to be thinking about that earlier on, because then it would, it saves the headaches that you get later on when you're trying to then go back in time and fix.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of landscape-led projects now. Housing developments and things are being led by the landscape architects, and we need to work more collaboratively as a team. We can't sort of be working in our own little bubbles. We need to work together on this sort of thing. And SuDS is something that comprises the whole project. It's not just the permeable paving. It's not just the rain gardens. It's not just the building and the drainage within the building. It's all of it together.
Yeah, it's the full solution that you have to think about. So then once these systems are installed, there is a perception in the industry, I think, that permeable paving requires more maintenance. What would you say to that?
It's different maintenance. It's not more maintenance. It's not less maintenance. It's just different. when we look at an impermeable surface, brushing the surface is suitable enough. But people fail to remember that the system itself, that in part of that impermeable surface, is the pipes underneath it, because that's the drainage system. The permeable paving is the drainage system as well. That's a little bit more obvious when you start to visualize it, but we need to maintain these systems. To do that it's quite simple. Visually inspecting the area is enough to see whether or not the system needs to be maintained. There's a lot of research that shows that actually after 15 years with little to no maintenance, the permeable paving works effectively. Mm-hmm. It doesn't need this sort of year-on-year brushing and topping up of the aggregates and vacuum cleaning that some people perceive it does. And there's a lot of projects to show that. We just need to make sure that it's constructed correctly.
You actually just recorded yourself talking about a project quite recently about, what was the school called?
It's the Rainy and Dowd.
The Rainy and Dowd School. And the permeable paving had been down for, was it over 10 years?
Yeah.
And had little maintenance, no maintenance.
Yeah, it's around 10 years that it's been down now, but it's had, and we spoke with the groundskeeper and he said like they've had effectively no maintenance, but it still works.
Yeah, and you carried out a test as well to prove that, yeah.
Every now and again, they will put sand on the paving area and in order to store it, but that area still works permeably. So we know that even if the system does get somewhat blocked, that it still works effectively. And the ratio to that is permeable paving can be 95% clogged, but still work against a extreme rainstorm event. If you're working with a gully and it gets 5% blocked, that might mean that the system actually causes flooding, because a gully can only deal with about 50 millimeters per hour of water, whereas permeable paving, the minimum that is set out is 2,500 millimeters per hour on first day. So that obviously degrades over time. Anything does. But as soon as you put a pipe in the ground, it's going to degrade. What we're saying with permeable paving is, at least when it starts to require maintenance, that's on the surface and you can clean that very, very easily.
Okay. So taking a step back then from that, how do you see SuDS changing the way developers and planners approach new projects? Have you started to see a shift in that yet?
Yes, there's definitely a shift that's been in the industry. I think everyone is starting to see it, which is good. But we are working together to do that. A lot of people, they're so busy that they can't consider the SuDS. So it's about the people that are invested in it and know what the benefits are to keep and be persistent with SuDS. Ultimately, the projects which are designed with SuDS last longer because they're more climate resilient.
And you can actually see it though, you know, with the legislation, with the flooding episodes that we're having. I've sat in presentations that you've delivered to customers, and the volume of questions that you have been getting, and you've answered them all very well, but the volume of questions kind of proves how much education and support people need at the minute to help them with SuDS moving forward. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I would say to people, don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions. Like, I'm someone who, even if I don't know the answer to the question, I'm going to go and find out what that answer is, and I'm going to help you too, because I know that the more projects that we help with, the more times you're going to come back to us, because we're going to help you guys. And that's what I would say.
And the more it's going to help people as well.
Absolutely.
Obviously, you know, reduce the flooding, and because, you know, we've seen it at the most extreme levels. People are losing cars, houses, you know, even worse. So
yeah, it's a domino effect when you consider that actually using this in using a gully instead of an effective SuDS system it means that you're actually going to end up causing effectively damage to projects and to people's property. You need to consider that, and unfortunately, that's not something that gets a lot of attention in some areas of the industry, but it's definitely shifting.
So then, for anybody considering SuDS, what's the number one piece of advice that you would give them before they make any decisions?
Look at SuDS early. I think you need to think about how water can move through your project instead of how it has done in the past. But we need to look at this early. I would recommend not doing a deep dive per se, but doing some research to figure out how SuDS has worked so well on projects. because what we're seeing is that these projects are lasting longer. There's plenty of permeable paving projects which have stood the test of time. Permeable paving has been in the UK for many decades now, and there's projects that lasted that long, but they do need to be constructed properly. You need to set out the right things to make sure that the project is completed as it should be, and the best practices there. So consider it early.
Great, that's a good takeaway. So thank you so much for joining me on the second episode of our podcast. It's always a pleasure. And I said the same thing to Alex last week. See, when you hear somebody talking about their passion, it's a really powerful thing. I love listening to it.
I think people don't take me seriously when I say that I'm passionate about SuDS, but I can really see the UK being at the forefront of SuDS if we do it properly. But yeah, that's the dream.
Good. Well, before we wrap up, are you okay to do a little bit of this or that?
Absolutely. What is this or that?
So this or that, you just have to give me your first answer. Go with your gut.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. So I'll give you two options and you just pick one.
Cool.
Okay. New build or retrofit?
Retrofit.
Blank canvas or constrained site?
Constrained site.
Oh, interesting. How come?
The challenge is definitely there, and it's a site, it's already there. I think it's similar to the retrofit.
Okay, fair enough. Classic Rolls-Royce or vintage Aston Martin?
I'm going to go Rolls.
Okay, Rolls. Tailored suit or smart casual?
Tailored.
Of course, we should have known. Velvet, I even put the velvet on for you today.
I do like the velvet.
And then champagne or Prosecco?
Champagne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I think I'd go Prosecco if it was me. Well, to be honest, I don't think I'd choose either. Well, thank you so much for that, Michael. Really appreciate it. It's been great. Your insights have been invaluable. For anyone listening, the message today is clear. Flooding isn't going away, but with smart design, good installation and proper maintenance, we can build homes and neighbourhoods that handle water better and stay resilient in the face of climate change. Thanks for tuning in to Create and Construct. If you enjoyed today's chat, share it with someone who's juggling planning decisions or flood concerns. It might just save them a headache later. Next week, we'll be taking a closer look at the bigger picture of a construction project from conception right through to completion. So make sure to subscribe and tune in. Thanks.